What's good, NFL fans? Jack Sperry here from Chat Sports, and on today's NFL News and Rumors video, I'm going to be breaking down Ezekiel Elliott visiting the city of Pittsburgh, as well as Kenny Pickett going on Big Ben's podcast, where Big Ben had some very interesting things to say about his feelings on the second-year Steelers quarterback. If you want more NFL News and Rumors content here from Chat Sports, make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you always know when we put out our free videos here on YouTube. Welcome in to Steelers Talk, Yinzers. I hope you had a great weekend. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and on today's show, I'm going to be breaking down the latest roster moves that the Steelers have made. They made 4 of them this morning. I'm going to be breaking all 4 of those down here in just a second. Then also, former NFL All-Pro running back Ezekiel Elliott was spotted in the city of Pittsburgh this weekend. Are the Steelers thinking about signing him? I'm going to be letting you know here in just a second. Then also, Big Ben and Kenny Pickett, past and present, Steelers quarterbacks chatted on Big Ben's podcast. Going to let you know what Big Ben had to say. But before we get into today's action, make sure you stay up to date with everything going on this offseason with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, Steelers OTAs start tomorrow. We're going to have you covered with the latest news and rumors from Steelers camp. And then also, we're going to be having some breaking news coverage this week, at least most likely, because the Steelers have 3 roster spots to fill. So expect a nice move to be happening here over the course of the week. If you want that breaking news video, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. And then, of course, we've got the live show Wednesday, 4 p.m. Me and Chugs are going to be talking some Steelers football with y'all. Can't wait for that. Make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. Select all so you get notified whenever we put out our free videos here on YouTube. So now let's get into today's news, which is that the Steelers have made 4 roster moves, which now means that the Steelers have 87 spots filled on their 90-man roster. So 3 spots left to fill. Here are the moves that they ended up making today. They have signed a rookie minicamp tryout player here, outside linebacker Toby Ndukwe, and then they've also cut 3 players, Master Teague, Tay Crowder, and Emeka Egbule. And I'm looking at Toby here with the outside linebacker. He's somebody that impressed during rookie minicamp. He's an athletic guy. He used to go to SMU here in Dallas, actually, but he ended up going to Sam Houston for his senior year. Wasn't super productive last season, but he ended up getting a rookie minicamp tryout with the Steelers. Evidently, really impressed them, and he's got a roster spot here heading into training camp and OTAs and all this stuff going for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It'll be interesting to see how this guy does over the course of the rest of the offseason. And with these moves now, the Steelers have 3 spots left on the 90-man roster. And of course, with all the moves that they've been making, cutting Arthur Maulet, Akella Witherspoon, extending Mitchell Trubisky, which saves you about $4 million in cap space for this year, you have over $10 million in cap space available for the 2023 season. And with 3 spots available, I think the Steelers are getting ready to make at least one splash signing at a position of need at some point during the week. Obviously, they're going to be filling all 90 spots on the roster at some point. We'll see if they bring back anybody from rookie minicamp. It'll be interesting to see if they bring in a veteran. They certainly have the cap space to make a splash here, and I can't wait to see if that's going to be the case here moving forward for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So who do you want the Steelers to sign in NFL free agency? Do you have a player in mind that you want the Steelers to sign? Let me know in the comments section. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever you get an ad break here, take advantage of that time by giving me a name of a player you want the Steelers to sign in free agency. And a player that's starting to get rumored to the Pittsburgh Steelers is none other than running back Ezekiel Elliott. So Elliott was spotted at Ryan Shazier's charity event at Acrisure Stadium over the weekend. And some people are starting to speculate, is he coming to Pittsburgh for a visit to the Steelers facility as well? Could the Steelers be interested in adding the former All-Pro? So over the last 4 seasons when it comes to Zeke, it's just he's had a little bit of a decline, right? I still think he's a really good short yardage running back, power running back, which is actually what the Steelers are doing this year. So I actually think he's a pretty darn good fit, but you take a look at the dipping numbers there. A 3.8 average is not what you look for. Did have 12 touchdowns last year, though, which is something that's kind of nice. He's been fielding offers from a bunch of different teams, trying to find that right fit for his career, and it could be Pittsburgh. I mean, I guess we'll just have to see on that, but I'm going to let you know what I think about this rumor here in just a second. But first, if you want your very own officially licensed Joey Porter Jr. Steelers jersey, we still have a couple left available on the Chat Sports website. You got to go to chatsports.com/Joey Porter Jr. to get it today. He's going to be wearing number 24. He's going to be wearing a visor. It's going to be awesome. I really am a believer in Joey Porter Jr. I think he's going to be the lockdown cornerback one for the Steelers for years to come. So do me a favor, or do yourself a favor, actually. Get your Joey Porter Jr. Steelers jersey today at chatsports.com/Joey Porter Jr. Personally, I'm not getting my hopes up too high that Ezekiel Elliott is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler because, plain and simply, he was just going to his friend's charity event. There's nothing to indicate that he was going to the Steelers facility or that the Steelers have any interest in him whatsoever. Now, could it still happen? Absolutely, but I think that his presence at Acrisure Stadium isn't necessarily a sign that he is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler moving forward. And just plain and simply, him and Ryan Shazier, they're friends. They were college teammates. They're close buddies. They have stayed in touch for a long time. Zeke was at last year's event, and we knew he wasn't going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler last year. So I'm definitely not thinking that his presence at that event is any indication that the Steelers are interested in him or anything like that, or vice versa if he's interested in the Steelers. But, for the right price here, I would think that it would be a pretty good idea to add Ezekiel Elliott to the lineup that already includes Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. And listen, the Steelers are trying to establish a power run game in 2023. Right now, the only really effective power back that they have in the lineup, is Najee Harris. So if something happens to Najee, like it has over the last couple of years, he dealt with a foot injury last year, if you'll remember, it'd be nice to have kind of a second power back in there that can also probably play fullback for you if you really want. I think the Steelers want Connor Hayward to be that starting fullback this year, but hey man, if you can get Zeke for like $1 million, $2 million, you bring him in as a third running back / fullback, I think that'd be a pretty decent move. And getting somebody with the name recognition of Zeke will definitely sell tickets and jerseys as well. So from the business standpoint, it does make sense. So would you sign Ezekiel Elliott if you were the Pittsburgh Steelers? Type S if you would sign him and add him to this running back room, or if you're good here and you want to pass on him, type P in the comments section. So now, to wrap things up here, I want to talk about Kenny Pickett's appearance on the Footballers podcast, which, of course, is Big Ben's podcast that he does every once in a while. Has some very big Steelers names on the podcast, and this week it was Kenny Pickett, and he said some very interesting things that are starting to get some fire on Steelers Twitter. This is what Ben had to say. I wouldn't say that I wanted Kenny to necessarily fail, but like when someone comes to replace you and you still feel like you had it, I hope he doesn't come ball out, because then it's like, Ben who? Early on, I didn't want him to succeed because he was following me up. I didn't want it to happen. That's probably the selfishness of me, and I feel bad for it. But as the season went on and it got to his third game playing, I was rooting for him. I was excited for you, talking to Kenny Pickett here, and I wanted you to succeed. I wanted you to win games. I wanted you to get to the playoffs. I feel bad that I felt that early on, but I'm glad that I transitioned to the love of rooting for you. Sorry about that, guys. I was pleasantly surprised. I am glad that I was wrong in the sense of where I had you. I think Pickett is the future of this team. I really do. So I don't know why so many people are surprised by this or saying that Ben's a piece of crap for this. We know that Ben has never been the pass the torch kind of guy. Of course, when the Steelers drafted Mason Rudolph in the second round, couple years back, he was furious. He was not happy about it whatsoever. He was talking about, I'm not mentoring this kid at all. But here's the thing, guys. Kenny Pickett and Big Ben Roethlisberger, they've cultivated a relationship. Obviously, Kenny is cool with Ben because he went on his podcast. They had a nice conversation, and now they're good friends, and they chat after games and before games, and he gets advice from him. It's a good relationship. So if you have a problem with these comments that Big Ben made, and he said that he feels bad for feeling that way. I don't know why people are getting so upset with Big Ben Roethlisberger about this. I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate the transparency that Big Ben had with Pickett, because he told him to his face, man, like, I didn't want someone to come in and just play amazing right after I left. Now, that's a very human response, and I really do think if you have a problem with this, you need to get a life, man. Like, seriously, this is something that should not concern you whatsoever. It's something that it's not going to affect Kenny Pickett's play. It's not going to affect their relationship, so why would you care? So is Kenny Pickett the next great Steelers QB? Big Ben Roethlisberger certainly seems to think so. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section by giving me a hell yes or a hell no. For me, I'm definitely intrigued to see how Kenny does in his sophomore season. That's going to be it for today's show, guys. As a reminder, we got all this great stuff coming up later in the week, so make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you know when all of our free content here on YouTube goes out there. And then, of course, during this week's live show, if you want a shout out, you can go follow me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry. That's going to be it for me today, Yinzers. I will see you guys later. And as always, here we go, Steelers.